I don't know if you guys just heard that car turned on, but whatever. Excuse my hair, by the way. Like, I don't know, I just picked it up. It looks better in person. Like, it's like a messy ponytail, but I feel like on camera it's giving me like, girl, did you not do your hair type vibes. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. Like, oh my god, I haven't filmed in over 4 weeks, I think. Yeah, so today's video, hopefully I have enough time to do it because the baby will be waking up soon and the heater's about to turn on. Hold on. Alright, so my setup is a little weird today. I'm filming in my living room, and that's because the baby's sleeping in the bedroom in his little like bassinet, and I think he'll be sleeping for another 45 minutes. So hopefully I can get this video together and share with you guys my labor and delivery stories. It's just crazy. Like, I'm a mom. The feeling is just, it's undescribable. Like, it's amazing. I still look at him like, oh my god, this is mine. Like, I still can't believe it. Like, I'm still like shocked. He's the most precious little boy. He's so good. Like, for a newborn, he actually sleeps like a good 3 to 4 hours. At night he's like a little bit fussy, whatever, but overall I think he's like a really good newborn. Like, he literally just, what all newborns do, they wake up, eat, sleep, poop, wake up, eat, sleep, poop, and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm so excited today to be sharing with you guys my labor and delivery stories. So without further ado, let's get started. So December 13th, it was on a Thursday. I was having like a normal day, I guess you can say. I woke up, did everything normal, walked my dog. I had like breakfast, which I only ate waffles. And then like around 11, I started feeling tired, so I went to take a nap. I woke up around like an hour and a half later. It was like 12:45, and I was feeling cramping. And I didn't think anything of it. Again, I was just in denial, like, I'm not gonna give birth today. But I was getting like these minor little cramps. So I got up and I was like, okay, let me take a shower. So I took a warm bath, and it was now like 1:05, and I brought my phone to the bathroom. While I was in the shower, I noticed that I was getting these cramps. They were almost like period cramps, and they were coming like every 5 to 6 minutes, but they weren't lasting long. It was like 20 seconds. So I got out of the shower, I got dressed, I started doing dishes, and I just wanted like to do things that didn't allow me to like sit down or lay down, just in case, like, you know, gravity will keep pushing the baby down if that was the case. So I called my mom and I told her, I was like, hey ma, like, you know, I'm getting some pain, the whole thing, letting her know it wasn't lasting too long, but it's coming like every 5 to 6 minutes. It was now like 1:50 around there, and my mom was like, ay papá. She's like, bueno, déjame bañarme y voy para allá. So I was like, okay. So basically she was like, hold on, like, let me just take a shower and I'm gonna go over there. But she was like, oh damn, like, today is the day. And I was still like a bit like, okay, like kind of freaked out, but I still prepared myself. So I started doing my makeup, nothing crazy, but I just started like filling in my brows and things like that because I didn't want to look crazy going into labor. I was like, no, like, nobody's gonna go into labor looking crazy. My boyfriend wasn't home, he was working, so I was trying to get in contact with him, but his phone had died. So I'm like, okay, great. So I ended up calling my boyfriend's mom and letting her know, like, hey, you know, today might be the day, I'm getting some cramps and stuff like that. So she was on her way as well. Then finally my boyfriend called me. It was around like 2:45ish, and the pains were getting a little bit stronger, not necessarily like too strong, but just a little bit stronger. And I had told him like, hey, you know, you need to get here because I'm going to go to the hospital in a little bit. And he's like, oh my god, like, are you serious? Like, today's it? Like, this is it? And I was like, yeah, this is it. So he was super excited. So he was on his way already. So everyone's on their way. So speeding up, like an hour and a half later, everyone's at my house, and the pain is now getting stronger. And I'm just walking around my house because the point was to like feel as much pain as possible at home and pretty much time the contractions. And then once I felt, and once my mom, my mother-in-law felt like, okay, you know, it's time for you to go, then we would go. That way I don't go to the hospital and they tell me, oh no, come back or something like that. So it was around, yeah, like 4 o'clock, and I wanted to go into the bath again just because, you know, when you have your period and you have cramps, like a warm bath makes you feel better. So I just wanted to put like some warm water on my stomach and just like pretty much sit in the tub with warm water. I went into the bath and my mother-in-law was like, oh, do you mind if I go in there with you? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So she's like, okay, well, you're in the bath, I'm going to just stand here and I'm going to time your contractions, like how long they're staying, so let me know when you have one, and if you have at least 3 in 10 minutes, then we have to go. And while I was in there for probably like 8 minutes, I got 5 contractions. They were lasting like about 40 seconds. So she's like, okay, Katrina, you have to get out of the bathtub and we have to go to the hospital. She's like, you do not want to have this baby here. We get into the car and we head out. The hospital is about 8 to 10 minutes from my house, and I was getting contractions as we were going, but I was still trying to stay strong. I was just like, okay, like this is here. I was just in pain. I didn't want to hear no talking or anything. The car was silent. Like I didn't want to hear anything. We got to the hospital and my mother-in-law was like, oh, do you want a wheelchair? Let me get you a wheelchair. And I was like, no, 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 no. I do not want a wheelchair. The thing with me, like with pain, I don't want to be seated. I don't want to be held. Like I just want to get over the pain and just walk it out. Just leave me alone pretty much. So I jumped out of the car and I just started walking to the birthing center. I forgot to mention I had called my doctor while I was home, so my doctor had already let them know that I was on my way, and they already had a room set up for me, which was pretty cool. As soon as I go up, I just had to give my name and they were like, yeah, your doctor called, let's bring you into triage. Nurse is like putting belts on my belly and she puts like the bed back so she can check how many centimeters I'm dilated to see if I'm actually in active labor or if they're going to have to leave me in triage for a while and monitor me until I am in active labor to bring me into the labor and delivery room. So when she's putting the bed back, I'm feeling like super nauseous and I'm getting like my head is getting hot, like almost as if I was about to faint. And I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let her check me and just bring me to the room, but I couldn't hold it. And I was like, hold on. And I came back up. I was like, I think I need to throw up. So she brought me like those plastic hospital bags, whatever, where you throw up in, and I just threw up. And I didn't even throw up food or anything. It was just like water that I drank all day and like this yellow liquid, you know, like when your stomach is empty and you're just throwing up this yellow nasty liquid. I know, too much info, but I'm just letting you guys know this is what happened. And I just threw up. After I threw up, I felt so much better. And it was just crazy because throughout my whole pregnancy, I didn't throw up, and now I'm in labor and I'm throwing up. So she checks my cervix and she's like, oh, you're 3 centimeters dilated, you are in labor. I got to the hospital, I forgot to mention, I got to the hospital around 4:30ish, so it's now like 5 to 10. So we get into the labor delivery room, they strap me up again just to monitor the baby a bit. Make sure that my heart rate is good, my blood pressure is good. They're coming like ever so often to check my blood pressure. And then the nurse that was going to be there throughout the whole night until I go into labor, I feel like it was a nurse sent from God, literally, because I wrote down my birth plan, like exactly what I wanted, how I didn't want epidural, I didn't want you know, nurses or doctors asking me for epidural and pressuring me to get it, because my goal was to just let my body do its thing naturally and not go with epidural. And the reason that I didn't want to go with epidural is just because throughout my whole pregnancy I saw so many videos on like good things about it, bad things about it, and I was just so scared about just the negative things that can happen with your spine and just back pain and stuff like that. And I was just like to myself, you know what, if we're made to do this, and if it was back in the day there was no epidural and women did it, then I can do it too. That was pretty much my mind. And I know that a lot of people are not like, I wouldn't say like as strong as that, but just, you know, they just can't take the pain. And I understand it because the pain is no joke, but it is possible to do it with no epidural. And I just felt that I just didn't want it. So this nurse was great because she only asked me once. She did not pressure me to get epidural. I literally just told her, you know, I just want to let my body do its thing. Before I went into labor, I always wondered like how would the pain feel. I even asked people like how does it feel, and it's in pain that's undescribable. Like, yeah, you can say it's like cramps, but like 100 times more, and it just gets like worse and worse. Like literally that's just how it goes. And the pain, I was feeling it like in my abdominal area, I was feeling it on my lower back. I was feeling the pain on my lower back, and it was just everywhere, and it was just so freaking painful. So once I was able to like get off the monitor for them to check the baby, I asked the nurse, you know, can I go into the bathroom? And she was so freaking nice, so she allowed me to go into the bathroom. And in the hospital I went into the bathroom and I did myself another warm bath. And that just felt so good. Like, yes, you feel the contractions, but just the fact of being in water, it just feels so good. Like, the contractions came, but it wasn't so like strong. Like, the water somehow just calms it down. Did that for about like 30 minutes, and I got out and I went on to the exercise ball, like this big ball that you just like jump on pretty much. I was on that for probably like 5 minutes because I was in so much pain that I did not want to be bouncing around anymore. The room, like I said, was quiet. I didn't want the TV on, didn't want anything on. My mom would talk to me every now and then. My mother-in-law would talk to me every now and then, but I couldn't. I was just like, that's it. Like, I don't want to talk. So then I was just on the bed for the remaining of the time, and it was just super, super painful. Then it got to a point that the pain was so bad that I literally started crying, and my mom was just like, no, don't cry, like, calm down, just relax. And I was like, oh my god, like, I can't do this. Like, I felt like my body was just like not giving up, but I just felt like I'm in so much pain and the baby's not here yet. It's like, how about when it's time to push? Like, I was just thinking about everything. The nurse was like, okay, I understand you don't want any epidural, but do you want like a muscle relaxer? And I was just like, okay, what is that? She's like, it's just like if you were to take 2 shots and you're ready to go. She's like, you're going to feel all the pain, but you'll be a bit more relaxed. So I ended up doing the muscle relaxer, and that I kind of regretted it afterwards because yes, you feel automatically drunk, like if you took several shots, and it just felt like the room was spinning. Like, I just felt drunk, the room was spinning. So at that point I just closed my eyes and I stayed with my eyes closed, and my mother-in-law was close by, and I just wanted to just squeeze her hands. And I didn't want to squeeze my boyfriend's hands because my boyfriend has big hands, and I just felt like I wanted hands that were like my size that I could just grip onto really hard. And I don't know why, I just gravitated to her, and every contraction that I'll get, I'll just squeeze her hand, and they were coming way more frequently. Like, she was like, wow, you're getting them like every minute, every 2 minutes. And then I started to feel pressure, just a heavy pressure, and it's a pressure I can't explain. It felt like a big balloon of pressure. Every time I felt that pressure, I had to like push, and the nurse was like, don't push because you can end up like hurting yourself or something. But I was like, I can't help it, like, I need to push. At this point, it was probably already like 8:30 p.m. at night, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna check your cervix, and like if your cervix is gone, like pretty much like soft or something, then you can start pushing. She checks my cervix and she's like, okay, you're fine, you can push. At that moment, I was like almost blacking out, but not blacking out completely, but just like I didn't know what was going on. I was just focusing on my body, because when I'm telling you that pressure that I felt there was just taking over my body, it was like I was no longer in the room. I was no longer in control. Like, my body was just doing its thing. And I just started pushing. Every time I felt a contraction, I just started pushing. So she was on the phone calling in doctors. I guess, it was already time. And from that time, it was like 9. And it's crazy because that doctor came in and was like, when it's your first time, you can usually be in labor for 12 to 24 hours. And I was in labor for probably like, it started at 1. I started getting pain like at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and it was now 8:45 p.m. at night, and I was only in the hospital from like 4:30 to then. So I was like at the hospital for like 4 or 5 hours, and I was already ready to push. So the doctors were coming in and things like that and setting up the room, and I just pushed. Like, once I felt this strong pain, like my mom was like, once you feel this strong pain, and my mother-in-law was telling me, just push, push, push. So I felt this really strong contraction that I'm telling you that I felt it on my toes. Like, that's how bad it was. It was so strong, and I just pushed so hard. And then I felt another one right after, and I pushed so hard, and I just felt water, like so much water just get out of my body. It was just like instantly, like a rush. And in my mind, I was like, oh yes, my water broke. And my water had already broken like 10 minutes before that, and I didn't even remember. And it was basically the baby was out. It was so crazy, the moment, just how everything happened so quickly, because the nurse was the one who delivered my baby. The doctor, while I was pushing, the doctor was setting up, and the nurse was like, there's no time for this setting up. Like, she's going to push. Like, this baby's coming, because the head was there, I guess. Like, she can see the head. And the doctor's like putting on his gloves, and right there I pushed so hard, the baby came out. The nurse grabbed the baby, put the baby on top of me, and everyone's like, open your eyes, open your eyes. My mom was like, open your eyes, like, don't fall asleep. I opened my eyes, I'm like, oh my god. And it just felt like instantly, I just felt like the first thing I see is just a baby with so much hair, and I was like, oh my god, like he's here, like this is crazy. And all I could think was in my head was, wow, the pain is gone. Like I no longer felt contractions, I didn't feel burning, I didn't feel anything. It was such a great like natural birth. Like I didn't tear. I had like a 1st-degree tear, which like the smallest tear you can get is practically like a scratch, so I didn't need stitches or anything. I just felt good. Like as soon as I gave birth, I just felt good. And it wasn't like, it was so fast. Like everything happened so fast. Like I thank God so much, because that whole week I was so nervous, and I just prayed. I was like, please God, that I have like a good birth and that everything goes well, because it's a very unpredictable situation. Like anything can happen, and everything, thank God, like it just went so smoothly. Only thing that was super painful was pushing out the placenta. This is something that I didn't know. Like I thought the placenta came out like as soon as you gave birth, like everything just came out, but having to push that placenta out was like the hardest thing. And the doctor was just drilling into my stomach, like just trying to push everything out, and it hurt so bad that I was just like to my mom, like, why is he doing this to me? And she's like, oh, he has to, Katrina, he has to just relax and just push. And I was like, oh my god, like I can't. And I pushed like so many times, and my stomach was just killing me when he was just like going in to just push everything out. It's basically like pumping your stomach. And I was just like, oh my god, like me thinking about it, I get goosebumps. And that was just like the worst. Like aside from contractions, that was the worst thing. Delivering the baby was nothing. Like it was nothing, but compared to that pain, it was like, oh my god. But then after that, it was good. Like the baby was here, and everything just went so well, and I'm so grateful. So yeah, it was a natural birth, no epidural, just a muscle relaxer, but I still felt every contraction. It's like I said, you just felt drunk. And that's pretty much it. That's my story. Overall, it was such an amazing experience, and I'm so grateful to have had like experienced it. I just wish that I would have like captured the moment on video or something, but I wasn't thinking about recording. No one was thinking about recording. It was just, I don't know, like the vibe in the room was just exactly what I needed and what I wanted. He's here, I'm a mom, and it's freaking crazy, but I'm super blessed. So yeah, I'm not even sure I ever even share with you guys his name, but his name is Jekensi, which is Jekensi, and it's a name that we've been having for such a long time, my boyfriend and I. So it just feels surreal, like the moment and the fact that he's here. It's just crazy. So this is it. That's my labor and delivery story. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments down below, anything else you want me to answer. If you don't think like I touched base on it here, let me know in the comments down below, anything you want to ask me. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video.